Hi everyone, we're back in session number 3 of our online seminar, A Spiritual Guide for Stress-Free Holidays, where we learn how to cope with the emotional load using basic terms in faith. In the last session, we learned how to analyze stressful and negative situations during the preparation period of the holidays in our family. And in this session, we'll give some attention to the financial aspect of the holiday. And in session number 4, we're going to also touch the religious aspect of the holiday. And since it is a sensitive matter, I will leave it to last after we gain some experience with understanding of our ego. The understanding of our ego is a little better. I will explain to you what does the ancient wisdom of Kabbalah has to say about it. And as I said in the beginning, and it's very important for me to deliver this message, this is compatible with all the monotheistic faiths. I'm not asking you to do anything outside of your faith. The opposite is true. I will ask you to strengthen your faith in your own family, your own house, your community, and your place of worship. So let's begin. In the time before the holidays, many families are spending thousands of dollars in presents and food and clothing, house repairs and such. Let's first start with some practical tips to prepare ourselves for the event. However, as I said in the last session, the purpose of this short seminar is not to give you financial advice, but to make you change your mindset as far as your spending goes for the holidays through the eyes of your divine soul. So here are some practical guidelines that will help you prepare for the holidays in a better way. I recommend for you to do it together with your significant other to make an effective impact. Oftentimes, we make financial goals for ourselves that our partners do not agree with or are not mentally available to take actions, and it ends up being a failure because there was no mutual agreement on the path. So sit down with your partner and plan ahead of time. First thing, estimate how much money you will need for the upcoming holiday. You can do that based on past years. You can look at your credit card bills and find out how much did the last holiday really cost you. And based on your income, decide on the sum of your budget. Number 2, open a savings account for the holidays and deposit every month a certain amount based on your budget. This is something that is already too late for this holiday, for this year, but next year is right around the corner, and it is an opportunity to start that savings account. Number 3, take the money that you need for the holidays in cash and use your holiday spending from the cash box. It is easier to follow and stick to the budget when we have an amount of cash. We can gauge better how the fund is running out, take a cut on our spending if we need to. We tend to overspend using credit cards. Paying with cash has a psychological effect on us. We feel that it's literally coming out of our pocket, where with credit cards we feel like it's someone else's problem, or we have a feeling that we can deal with this later, but not now. The problem is that later becomes now, and at that point we end up with a big credit card debt that are very hard to catch up with. Number 4, there are great apps in the market for monitoring spending. Use the technology to your advantage. There are apps that give you real-time monitoring of your spending based on the different categories that you set up in the app. I personally use an app called RiseUp, but there are a variety of apps there that can help you with that. Do some research and decide which one is best for you. Okay, let's go back into our little car where we have 2 drivers fighting over the driver's seat, and look at our spending in the eyes of our drivers and see what and why we are spending our money over. Okay, let's get back to our soul search. Let's take a few examples. Clothing, for example. Many of us have good enough clothing in our closet, but we still find ourselves spending a great deal of money on clothes and shoes. Some of it comes from the thought that it's fun and a good opportunity to refresh our wardrobe with new exciting clothes. There are many good sales around the holidays, and it is a good opportunity to buy something new. Also, wearing new clothes give you a feeling of a fresh start, a feeling of something new and exciting, a feeling of festivity. These thoughts are positive and good, and if you can afford it, there is no wrong in doing so. The problem begins when you cannot afford it and you feel obligated to buying new clothes because that is what people expect you to do. Then you don't want to feel different or odd. So if you already have clothes that are respectful enough for the holiday, why are you then buying new clothes for? You're a reasonable person. You're in control of your life and spending. Why do you find yourself spending on something that you cannot afford and is not necessary? Something that will put you in debt and bring you a lot of grief many months after the holiday is over. The answer to that, you want to guess? Your ego is in the driver's seat. I'm just giving one example here. Please don't take it personally. Again, that might not be your specific case, but I hope that with that example, you will be able to find the element of your ego that is driving you to make such decisions. So let's say that your animalistic soul is seeking respect from your neighbors and your community. Let's dub your ego. Remember the remote control? I need to be respected, no matter what is the price. I can't stand the thought of anyone in my community thinking less of me. I don't want them to think I'm not successful. So I'm willing to go into debt just to be perceived by the members of my church or my temple as less successful and not win their respect. This type of ego is feeding on respect or acceptance or appreciation or honor or control. Those are different manifestations of the ego's desire to absorb energy from its surrounding. A person that has his divine soul in the driver's seat will think, it could have been nice to buy new clothes, but I need this money to provide to my family for the rest of the year with more important things like food, education, and everyday clothing. If I buy clothes for the holiday, I will put a great stress on me. That could hurt my relationship with my partner, and that in turn will hurt my children as well. Anyways, the most important aspect of the holiday is not external superficial things. It is about celebrating among family and friends. It's about worshiping the Lord and giving gratitude to the Lord for our life, our health, and our wealth as well. Maybe next year, God willing, I'll be able to afford it. This is just one example. You can use it for any time you encounter a financial problem regarding overspending during the holiday season. I want to warn you to be careful because the animalistic soul is very treacherous. It has so many excuses to give that will make it look like we're actually doing a good thing. We're giving, not receiving. For example, I have to buy my son an Xbox. He has been waiting for that present for a long time. I'm actually doing something good. That is a trick that your ego is playing on you to make you feed it. Yes, it's true that your son wants an Xbox, and it's true that you will make him very happy if you buy it for him. And if you can afford it, that is totally okay. However, if you cannot afford it, and it has a big price to pay later on, for example, you have to be away from home long hours at work, or not be a part of your son's life as a result of that, is that really a good choice for your son? Another thing, what are you teaching him? That it's okay to overspend what you don't have? How is he going to behave when he grows up? You need to teach him financial responsibility. Moreover, you are buying him that present because sometimes you're buying him that present because your ego doesn't want to deal with the negative attitude you have to be getting from your son. Or that you don't want people to think that you didn't buy him that present because you don't have enough money. Or maybe you can't stand the thought that you're not a good father. Maybe your ego wants to know that you're a good dad. And if you don't buy that present, your ego will not feed with your inner thoughts that you're a good father or that you're successful. Think about it deeply. What is your real interior motive to buy that game, even though you cannot afford it? Is it really better for your son to have that game rather than have a sane parent without stress that is mentally available for him? I cannot make that call for you, but you owe it to your son, not even to yourself. The key here is to understand the simple equation. Negative feelings means that your animalistic soul or your ego is in the driver's seat. The negative feelings are a manifestation of your ego not getting what it wants. It's like a baby that drops the pacifier and it is crying and crying and there's nothing wrong with it. It just wants to suck on that pacifier. That is how our ego works as well. As long as you feed it, it is happy. The second you stop, it starts screaming and kicking and crying until it gets what it wants. Okay, folks, that is the end of session number 3. In the next session, we're going to touch the last and more sensitive topics, which is the worship of our Lord and how our ego is manifested in our thoughts, feelings, and actions in the work of worship as well. I'm Sagi with Divine Reflection, and you're watching a short seminar on how to pass the holidays with less stress and anxiety. Thank you for watching and see you next session. Goodbye.